Can't believe all this shit. It's about to end. Then I start my new life. New Year's, or a couple days before New Year's. But anyway, um, I was watching the show, The Grapevine, and I've noticed that Sarge he's now watching the show as well. He's been making a couple response videos for it. Um, I'll disagree with Sarge from time to time. I don't take him like seriously, but I will say that he does have good points in how women think. Now, is he in the position that he claims to be? I don't know. I don't take people from the internet seriously. And you guys don't have to take me seriously, but because I'm not showing my face and I don't want to, but I will, but I'm not making these radical plans and saying that black people need to do this or you're not pro-black or make all these very arbitrary, hardcore rules. Anyways, so the latest episode of The Grapevine was about religion. And I always get annoyed with this because the panel, they had a very diverse panel like when they first started the show, but I guess because people moved or I guess something happened, people lost in contact, I don't know. But I've kind of grown a little tired of the same old cast between, it's like, there's like very little variations. I don't know if it's hard getting people scheduled together or I don't know, but I just feel like the cast is a bit too small and their ideologies is very. I just tend to disagree with it. And to be honest with you, the only person that I like is Carl. He's been making a lot of sense ever since the his support for Donald Trump. So I can stand with Carl majority of the time. I do feel like the guy with the dreads, I feel like he goes back and forth a little too much. He will have a point, then contradict, and like he will side with the group who feels like they've won the argument. So, I feel like they don't have a lot of brothers that I like, or that I can agree with. I kind of feel like Donovan, he tends to do the whole, he panders to the women. And so I guess he's supposed to be this black male who understands black women through his gayness or something. And, to me, it just kind of throws the show off to me with Donovan. And Sarge gets into that, and I'll agree with him on that. That Donovan does throw the show off because it doesn't allow the average black male voice to be heard. But hey, granted, hey, not saying that gay people don't need a voice, but the thing is, it just kind of comes off as like, it sounds kind of like a wrong message, I would say, because if the guys tend to disagree with the women, or they'll go half and half, and then you'll have Donovan come in, with the playing captain, and then he tries to lecture black men on how to treat black women in this whole gray area of thought. He does that too much, in my opinion. But Uchechi, she contradicts herself, and this is what I wanted to make the video on, and it threw me off that she's Catholic, and in this episode about religion. Wait, let me backtrack. I'm sorry, I'm going way too fast. Let me backtrack. So, like I said before, the show lacks diversity, and I feel like yeah, I didn't. I feel like they and it's weird how they don't have diversity, and I'm in how in black ideology. I mean, you're in New York. I mean, you can find the average person to the insane conscious person to like. There's so many spectrums. You know, to me, there's no way you cannot find somebody. But you know, I digress. But anyways, to me, if you want to do a topic on religion, at least have like a well-versed atheist. At least have a well-versed agnostic. You know, at least have some Muslims in the mix. I feel like it's when I saw a topic, I just kind of knew it's gonna be Christianity, and and I just knew the topic was gonna go to that because it's gonna go to black folks kind of mending Christianity in their favor, which I saw coming to where they're gonna be like, oh hey, yeah, we'll admit Christianity was given us by the white man, but we been Christians. And I'm like, where? In Ethiopia. And I did my research and I figured out that those Ethiopians, even though they've been practicing Christianity hundreds of years before colonialism, the thing is that Christianity wasn't even a natural religion, or it was a conversion. I guess it's probably one of the very few Christian conversions, to non-white people. So, I believe like this king, he went to Jerusalem. They do this Mecca to Jerusalem, and the king converted people to Christianity, and I'm just kind of like half and half with it. I'm like, okay, but it's like it didn't come from over there. It didn't come from the mainland of Africa. You know, unless you wanted to get into proving to me that during that time the Jews or the Hebrews of Jerusalem were still black. So you would have to kind of debate. You have to do like further research into it. So I'm like, it's like I'm just worried about the mainlands of Africa, not the Middle East, or you know beyond um North Africa. You know, so I didn't really care too much about it, but also I noticed that with Christians, black Christians, they will mend it. They will mend religion into their favor, Christianity into their favor, into being like, oh, well, Africa, oh, well, the Bible wasn't too literal. Don't be too literal. And y'all are misinterpreting the word. You had Donovan talking about um, fornication meant um, the thing is like you have to understand that you're using a translation. So translation, a definition, and it gets tangled. But anyways, he was saying that fornication means having sex with a prostitute under a bridge. I'm just gonna believe in the benefit of the doubt. But I'm like, oh, you know, but what did that actual word mean, or that in the original Hebrew text? Because things can be lost in translation. But anyways, um, I've noticed. I noticed a lot of gay people do this. I remember, back in, I guess, 2009, I think, but maybe around there, that there were these lesbians and they were making a campaign about, uh, correcting the Bible, and they were talking about the abomination of men being with men, women being with women, and they were making this campaign that, oh well, we're going to correctly translate, or I mean, correctly interpret the Bible. And so, you know, homosexuality is not really an abomination, and you have to look up the word abomination, and you have to, it's basically black folks trying to find wiggle room and a loophole within everything. And so, you can't come to black people with anything when it comes to religion, even with premarital sex, you know, they'll be like, oh, well, at least I was responsible. Oh, yeah, I may have fucked up, but look, I got a blessing. They will constantly mend it to their favor, You know, if I didn't sleep with that no good ass nigga, I wouldn't have had my beautiful son. you know, they just mend it to their favor. It's like, to me, like what's ironic is that before I saw the show, before I even knew about it, I had the exact same conversation with a friend about religion and Christianity because last night I was at school and I was about to head home, and there was this woman named Jessica. She came up to me and she was like, um, "Do you want to? Do you have? They always come at ask you like, do you have some time to spare?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure. I know where this is gonna go." And they'll talk about religion, and she pointed out something kind of interesting that I didn't think of. But I don't really care too much of. But I was like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." And she came up to me and she was like, "Do you know that?" What she did was she came up to me and she showed me the verses for the book of Genesis. And she was talking about the image of God and how she was trying to prove to me that God is both a male and a female, but we tend to worship only the male aspect of God. And then she flipped to another book and she was telling me that, here's proof that this is how you worship the motherly side of God. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I got home and I told her like, hey, I'm not a Christian. The thing is, I don't do it in person at school because to me it can be kind of hostile dealing with not just black people but white people as well. Especially on campus and in the South, and you're telling them, "Oh, hey, I'm not Christian." It's like you literally have to kind of get to know them personally or be cool with them beforehand. And so I just kind of be like, I just be like, nah, I'll just kind of lie to them or entertain them, but I don't be straight up. I don't be straight up with them. I don't, because I got burned one time doing that shit where I was too honest with a girl, and I ended up getting demonized for it. So I don't even bother even talking to black women about um religion in person. I don't do that because they'll get too ignorant. They'll get way too ignorant. Not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying that they will contradict themselves. I would say, and this is why I told my friend even that. Um, Hold on for a minute. Let me see. I just don't want to get over 18 minutes, so I'll get 4 minutes and I'll make this into part two. But anyways, like I was saying, I was telling my friend is that you know, um, a lot of black people, in my opinion, are secretly conservative. And I got this idea from Tariq Nasheed actually because it was a Ustream show that I believe he did like a year ago, and he was talking about black people. He was saying like black people are conservative based off Christianity, and they want to maintain certain lifestyles. I would even expand to that even more in saying that black people are failed conservatives. The black people are conservatives to the point until race and wealth comes to the mix. You will never see a union of a so-called black male conservative with a white female conservative. That doesn't mix. You're not. That is not going to mix. There's no union there. I can understand. And the thing is, I can understand white conservatives if they were like, you do your own thing, we do our own thing, and we just live off respectively. But whites have to fuck it up and be like, I can't live with your presence, even though you're not fucking with me. That's like, okay, it's like, golly. But like I was saying, there, like, black people are failed conservatives, and you look at it to the context of how they are on Sundays. I've ran into a lot of black people, especially black women, who they just can't accept diversity amongst black people, amongst the black community and religion. You tell them you don't believe in Jesus, you tell them Christianity ain't for you, ain't for me, blah blah blah, and it's like you're like labeled the bad guy. Now they either want to convert you even harder, or they will just stop talking to you and they'll like look at you as some kind of weirdo. The thing is, what knocks black people back, what knocks black people to liberalism, is when white folks, you know, say that, hey, you can't be conservative because of your black skin, because it fucks it up. And so, your black skin automatically makes you liberal in one of the, other people. Now black folks are lumped into the, um, and I even see this now with black folks marching with Arabs and Muslims, white gays, um, white women, um, Latinos, Asians, etc. You know, and to me, I'm baffled when I see this. When I see black people marching hand to hand with people of other religions, and I'm like, ain't that a bitch? Ain't that funny how you can eat, you accept them when convenient. You will be intrigued by their culture, their language, and all that, but God forbid you meet a black person who's an atheist. God forbid you meet a black Muslim, or someone who has a different religious belief. But when you're amongst white company or non-black company, you're forced to accept it, because your goofy ass doesn't look like a conservative. White folks, white folks have scared off black people from conservatism. But I'll end this video here and I'll make part two.